Hello and welcome to episode 122 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we craft the final circuits in the game, optical mainframes. We also look ahead at Singularities, dimensionally transcendent catalyst, and Mark IV compact fusion. I have just finished encoding the recipes for the optical assembly, optical computer, and optical mainframe. These are the last three circuits in the game. Much like before, these three things just build off of the previous circuit. So I start with optical processors, chuck it in an assembly line with a bunch of other stuff. Nothing too crazy. The oganesson might start to add up, but for now it's fine. But yeah, this is pretty easy to make. That's the optical assembly. The optical computer, same thing again, pretty much. You take the optical assemblies, put them in an assembly line, more of the same stuff, and you get an optical computer. And finally, optical mainframes, just once again, more of the same thing. Nothing special here, except this finally uses superconductor wire, which can eventually get quite expensive. The researches for all three of these are simply scans of the previous, or, research station scans of the previous. So these should actually be pretty quick to finish. I'm seeing a few more issues in my crafting process, some bottlenecks. First of all, making these long-attuned tangum rods is pretty slow. Making bioprocessing units is pretty slow. Basically, everything in these assembly lines is pretty slow. It may be time for me to look into the advanced assembly line, but first, I want to make a really quick and easy upgrade for the magnetic flux exhibitor. Instead of a neodymium magnet, I can make a samarium magnet, which I can use to make a tangum magnet. And tangum magnets are nice because they allow me to use multi-amp hatches, and that would speed this up a lot. So the samarium electromagnet I could have made back in UV. Nothing too crazy here, just some UV parts, pretty much. The tangum one, I also could have made this pretty recently, basically as soon as I got tangum. I need UHV field gens and a bunch of UHV parts. Pretty simple. For now, what might be worth doing is to set up some advanced assembly lines. Like I said quite a while ago, my understanding of these is that these are better for passive processes rather than on demand. And they do accept multi-amp and laser hatches, and they have their own special overclocking mechanics. So I'll have to look into that a bit before I can fully set it up. But it might be good for me to start passiving bioprocessing units, and probably all of these optical parts as well. I don't know if it's a bit too soon for me to do this or not, but it is something that I think would be a good idea. But for now, while the craft is going, there's not much I can do. I think I will make bioprocessing units on an advanced assembly line. I will do that. And I will also make the samarium electromagnet. The tangum electromagnet. And I will be back with optical mainframes. Now that I'm able to make mainframes, I have unlocked some stuff. I've unlocked wireless databank transmission connectors and wireless assembly line reception connectors, which are basically wireless versions of these things over here, the optical or the databank transmissions and the assembly line receptions. I think they are a little bit too expensive for me at the moment, but it might be worth investing in anyway, because making these wireless would make it so much easier to scale these. Mainframes also are one of three requirements to make the quantum force transformer. This thing is a beast. It's going to be very expensive to make, of course, but what it does is it lets me skip processing lines, which is very, very useful. It will allow me to free up so much space around all of these buildings. For example, I can get all of these rubbers. I don't need to make them in the chem lab. I can do the entire plat line here, which means I can remove my entire plat line. I can do the monazite line here. I can do the different glues and indoloy. I can do bastnasite. This thing is very nice. It allows me to also make raw biocatalyst medium, and I would love to make it this way because the biolab method is so slow. This does, however, need a tier 4 quantum force transformer, and I imagine I will not be able to make that. Yeah, space-time bending cores, space-time continuum rippers. I don't think that's happening soon. Still, a QFT would be very nice to make. Also, every time I read QFT in my head, it's quantum field theory, but it's quantum force transformer. The other two things I need to unlock the quantum force transformer are Mark IV fusion. I think I'm going to tough it out and go straight for the compact. It's going to be very expensive though, but we'll look into that soon. The other thing I need is eternal singularities. I'm going to need a few of these, so this recipe is not accessible to me. So instead, I'm going to have to do this monstrous die crafting recipe. It needs a bunch of other singularities, and each of those is made of other singularities, and each of those is tons and tons of resources compressed down. It is a singularity, after all, so that makes sense. I need 4 to progress to make the DTPF, but if I want to make QFTs as well, I'm going to need even more. Speaking of the DTPF, to fuel it, I'm going to need to make excited dimensionally transcendent catalyst. There are 4 types, and maybe more, I'm not sure actually, but these 4 are the ones I can make now. There's a transcendent plasma mixer, which I don't have access to. For now, I'm going to have to sit through the laser engraver method. To make the exotic catalyst, I need the resplendent catalyst, and to make that, I need prosaic catalyst, and to make that, I need crude catalyst. And each one is you just add a bunch of different plasmas to it in a mixer. This is a very, very slow recipe. Each of these steps is very, very slow. It does overclock, of course, because the different recipes are at different base voltages, but still, I'm going to need a lot of catalyst, and it's going to take a long time to build up catalyst. So I probably need to make 1,000 billion million mixing machines. But let's start with singularities. I need 4 for now, but I think I'm going to make 5, so in case I decide to, I can make a QFT a little bit early. So instead of figuring out how much each of these singularities is going to cost, I'm just going to encode everything and let AE2 do the math for me. Alright, everything has been encoded. It took a long time to encode, but I can very nearly make this, actually. It's a lot of steps, clearly, because I'm making a bunch of singularities, but it's quite doable. I have a few challenges here, though. So I don't have enough coal, and so far my ore processing has been doing the default route, so it's been washing and then macerating, but I've just changed it to go to the sifter, so it should be easy to get more coal now. Ender pearls are building up in the cubicles. Sapphires, I've put them in the sifter now. Rubies just need me to summon some more meteors, or rather to space mine some more meteors. Unstable dust. Now this one is the first real challenge. I don't see a super easy way to get this. There are these semi-stable nuggets, and I can get them from bees. Realistically, this seems like the only real way, so I might have to do bees. I've been avoiding it as much as possible, but I don't really see another way to get these. Besides that, I need shadow iron. I can mine this now. I just need a Mark 10 mining drone, which I can make, because I just needed UIV circuits and UEV field gens, which I can make because now I have UIV circuits. Tricalcium phosphate. I've been macerating this gem because I thought it had no use, but here we are. So I have put tricalcium phosphate ore on the sifter, so I will get the gems. Plutonium-239, I did not realize I was this low, but this is a simple fix. Mine more. Ashes, same thing. I've taken it off the centrifuge, so now my ashes will start to build up again. So yeah, it's mostly just I need to run the miners for a bit to get the materials, but the unstable dust is kind of the main issue. I actually already have unstable bees. I forgot about this. They are used to make the Caelestis bees, which is what I have running right now. So this is actually a solved problem, except I don't have any. I must have used them to make the Caelestis ones, so I'm gonna have to breed up some more bees. Oh god, do I remember how to do that? I'll have to watch my own video to figure this out. Okay, did not take too long. So I am now making divided combs, stocking them in the centrifuge, where it immediately gets centrifuged into magic wax, tiny piles of diamond and iron dust, and semi-stable nuggets. As it stands right now, eventually, this is going to consume my entire storage, which is not great. So I should probably partition some drives, but I'm lazy. The setup here is really simple. It's just the unstable drone and princess going in a circle in an industrial apiary with an automation upgrade and with an acceleration upgrade times 128. So now this runs at ZPM, and it produces unstable combs, which are kind of useless, and divided combs, which are what I actually need. It's going to take a very, very, very long time to get enough semi-stable nuggets to get this done. I have a roadblock. So the shadow iron, I thought I could space mine it, but I looked again. Needs Mark III module, and I can make the Mark III module almost. The only thing I'm missing is transcendent metal, but that means I need the DTPF first. Shadow iron needs to be obtained some other way. Meteors are a thing. I could do this. I don't need that much. I only need another 9,000 shadow iron. I don't even know where I got this from. Actually, probably was just from doing this meteor in the past. So yeah, I will probably do this in order to get my shadow iron. Everything else is pretty much done. The only problem is the unstable dust. Ashes are fine. I can always make more ashes, but yeah, unstable dust is a little painful. Should be pretty easily solved though. I just need to make more industrial apiaries. I have plenty of drones now. Should be pretty easy to make more princesses. Honestly, man, bees suck. This is so slow. I'm just gonna go do the activation ritual and handcraft the unstable dust. This is some bullshit. Singularities are crafting. It's gonna be a while. In the meantime, let's look at Mark IV Fusion. The Scan is a Mark III compact fusion controller. Unsurprising. It needs 4096 computation per second, so I might need to build more quantum computers or something. Making the controller is relatively straightforward. I don't think there's anything new except for molten Teflon, which is weird that this exists because Teflon is just polytetrafluoroethylene, so somehow this is different. But this is just an alloy blast smelt recipe. It's pretty easy. I need 48 Mark IV controllers, as usual. This is going to need advanced fusion coils, which I need anyway, so let's get back to that. Next up, I need neutronium reinforced borosilicate glass, that's fine. Infinity catalyst frame boxes, that's fine. UHV energy hatches, that's fine. Fusion casings, Mark III. Nothing new here, actually. It's a bit expensive, of course. It needs Mark II, a bunch of UHV parts, some circuits, blocks and blocks of tungsten carbide, neutronium plates. The Scan is a Mark II fusion casing. It's basically an absolute shitload of circuits. That's the main thing here. Finally, the Compact Fusion Coil Mark II prototype. This is made in a precise assembler. Let's see, is any of this stuff new? I think this is new. High Computation Stations Mark V final type. This needs bioprocessing units, so that's a little annoying. Engraved manulin crystal chips. Besides that, nothing crazy actually. Just some random fluids, some computation stations. I need the advanced fusion coils, of course. Quite a few of them. These are made in an assembly line. The Scan is a normal fusion coil block, but this is going to be kind of expensive as well because each one needs 16 LUV circuits and 8 UV circuits, and 16 Lapatronic energy orb clusters. These I can make in a space assembler now. It's exactly the same cost and speed as doing it in an assembly line, but the assembler module has parallels. I guess I also have parallels because I made 4 assembly lines, but I can use the assembly lines for something else. So that's nice. So this is going to be 13,000 UV circuits, 26,000 LUV circuits, and another 26,000 Lapatronic energy orb clusters, each of which needs 4 LUV circuits. So this is a lot of circuits. Seriously, like this is an insane number of circuits. So I am going to start working on this as well. It's going to be a long wait. And as it's going, I think I'm going to try and identify crafting bottlenecks and I'm going to scale things up. I expect that I'm going to need a lot more miners and a lot more circuit assembly lines. Ouch. Huh. I can't even make another Mark III compact fusion controller. I don't have enough Naquatahine. Wow. So my Naquata line is still running at, I want to say LUV and partially at ZPM, which is not fast enough. And also it looks like everything is off, so something's gone wrong. It's not that I've run out of input material because I have plenty. So maybe it's time for me to redo this. I'm going to make these neutron activators much taller so that they can process things faster. I made this one taller, I never showed it, but it wasn't so much of a difference that I thought it was worth showing. But I think now it's time to overhaul this whole thing, get some megachem reactors in here, and make everything super fast. By the way, if you're curious, I've just put everything into a crafting chain, and let me tell you precisely how many circuits I actually need. 1,120 LV, MV, and HV circuits, 38,000 EV circuits, 13,000 IV circuits, 145,000 LUV circuits, surprisingly no ZPM circuits, 13,000 UV circuits, 11,000 UHV circuits, and 576 UEV circuits. That's going to hurt. And then I have everything else too. This is going to be cripplingly expensive. I can't wait. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, I don't know what's going to happen. Mark IV Fusion is going to take so long that it might end up being another infrastructure episode. Or I might work on DTPF Catalyst and perhaps the DTPF itself. What will happen for sure is that my Naquata line will be upgraded. See you next time.